Despite what many media outlets are calling the biggest rebellion in the past 90 years, John Boehner has retained his position as Speaker of the House. He's entering into his third term. Now, truly, there were more votes cast against him than there have been against anyone who became Speaker of the House since 1923, but he has the spot. We're going to have that vote breakdown for you. First, here is Nancy Pelosi handing over the gavel, figuratively, also literally, in this video clip.
The Speaker-elect, John A. Boehner, representative from Ohio, and the Escort Committee.
You ready? My colleagues of the United States House of Representatives, it is a high honor to welcome you and your families to the 114th Congress. This is the people's gavel. In the people's name, it is my privilege to hand it to the Speaker of the House for the 114th Congress, the Honorable John Boehner. Mr. Speaker. God bless you, Mr. Speaker. God bless America. Thank you.
And I want to thank my family. And I was doing pretty good on the walk over here from my ceremonial office until I ran into Devin Nunes's three little girls. My three biggest fans, and one of them had to come running over and give me a kiss, and I was a mess.
I was a mess.
Yeah. John Boehner is amazing on so many different fronts. First of all, it's real, man. He is significantly more orange than everyone else.
It's getting darker.
Yeah, by like an order of magnitude. Like the most orange man next to him is like 10 times less orange than him.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
No, he was the same color as the gavel. He has the skin tone of someone you expect to see rollerblading in Venice Beach in a thong.
Yeah,
that's the skin tone.
That's right. There's something up with that.
I don't know. It could be a medical condition.
But something needs to be explained because that's not normal. Okay. Number two, I can't believe he cried again for no reason.
A little bit, yeah.
Like, okay, like I was doing all right on the Devin Nunes. His three daughters came by. Like, who cares?
Give the guy a break. He's drunk.
No, but that's the other thing. He's drunk, right?
Well, you get to celebrate if you win, especially if you think there was a chance that you could lose, even though there was no chance that he would lose. You get to celebrate with a little bit of champagne.
He's definitely drunk. That's what you get. Like, that's what you say when you're drunk, dude. And then Nunes' girls came by, man. And I love those girls, man. I love them, right? Somebody hand me a giant fucking gavel, right? And then that's what the gavel, the people's gavel.
She called it the people's gavel.
Yeah, don't make me bring the real people's gavel out.
Exactly.
Okay, and we'll make one that's so gigantic I can't even pick it up. I mean, it's so phallic. She's like, okay, now I hand you this giant phallus. And he's like, oh, yeah, I received the phallus, right? So
next
I don't
term
know,
there will be two of them.
Teared up.
So yeah, there were some weird things there. I mean, as we said, there were the most votes cast against the person who would go on to win since 1923. We do want to break down those votes for you. Boehner received the votes of 216 House members, while House Minority Leader Nancy Pelosi received 164 votes. Turning to the Republican challengers, Daniel Webster of Florida got 12 votes, the most opposition votes from the GOP. But the big story, really, is that there were these strong sort of Tea Party-esque conservatives who were supposed to unseat him. We had Louis Gohmert, a huge friend of the show. We had Yoho as well, who had some big-name backers, which we'll get to shortly. But how did they actually do?
Oh, they must have done great, man. These guys, these are real conservatives.
True conservatives.
Real challengers of Boehner. Go ahead, give it to me.
The dissatisfied Republicans offered up three alternatives. Gohmert received 3 votes. Yoho received 2. Much less than Webster, who we already showed you. So, Daniel Webster. We have to get the Charlie Brown song as he walks away all sad. Yeah. Well, Louis Gohmert predicted that the world would end if Boehner retained the speakership. So it looks like we're doomed. Yeah, CNN better cue up that video, which we'll get to.
Okay. So far, we have survived. I almost said Boehner. Boehner taking the gavel. Okay, wherever he took it. Okay, so, all this, much ado about nothing. there is no conservative rebellion against Boehner. Boehner is the money man. He's the guy who used to literally hand out checks from the tobacco lobbyists on the floor of the Congress as they were voting. That's why he's the Speaker of the House and the leader of the Republicans now, because he's the bag man, right? And they're not going to vote against the bag man. They're going to huff and puff, and they're going to try to pull him to the right. They're going to try to get more concessions out of him, etc. But in the end, only a couple of yo-hos wind up voting against him. Literally, it's just a couple. And these are not serious people. They're not serious challengers.
No, not at all. There were other protest votes cast, some for people that aren't even actually in the House. And so there were a lot of people who did not want to vote for John Boehner, but apparently that group is extreme enough and disorganized enough that they couldn't actually coalesce around one candidate who could get even a few dozen votes, which by itself would not be nearly enough to take him down, although theoretically it could be enough to throw the plurality to Nancy Pelosi. Which would have been interesting. That would have been awesome. The Perot factor. But I do want to show a video, though, because Louis Gohmert in particular did get some high star-powered support in advance of the vote. Let's see if you recognize this face.
Speaker Boehner, I think, it's our poll of the day, should he remain Speaker? Percent of Republicans say no. I'm among them. I wanted to get your reaction. How do you feel about the Speaker?
Well, I think that Speaker Boehner, unfortunately, didn't listen to many of us who all along were saying, you know, when you campaign one way and you govern another way, man, that's a turnoff. And really, it's unethical, and we don't have to put up with that. So those who have gone along just to get along with President Obama, like Speaker Boehner, you know, we need to thank them for their service and say, okay, time for new energy and time for commitment to those campaign promises to be fulfilled. And I love Louis Gohmert. I love those Texan politicians who call it like they see it and are true conservatives. So I'd be rooting for Louis.
Okay. Well, see, that did him a world of good. That's why he got, was it the 1.5 votes? Or?
I think it was 3 votes.
3 votes.
Yeah,
nice.
Half that support came from her endorsement.
Yeah, you see how strong Palin is?
Exactly.
You see why we should pay her a lot of attention, because she commands so many votes in the House.
Yeah.
Right. And what they didn't tell you during that interview is that she was sitting on a cat the entire time.
And she's not going to like us calling her out for that. So I do want to talk a little bit about John Boehner sort of getting his spot back, because it does seem like, considering what's happened in the country over the past 6 or 8 years, you would have expected at this point that with all the Tea Party candidates winning and everything, they could have gotten someone a little bit closer to their position. I mean, we understand where the real root of power in politics is, so we wouldn't have expected that. But I did read an interesting editorial on Vox where they talked about what he has actually been able to accomplish. And they talked about how while all of these incredibly extreme congressmen and senators have been getting elected, ones who want us to default, you know, on our debt obligations and things like that, he has actually been able to stop that from happening. You know, they want to shut down the government, and he's been able to push it to after an election so that it doesn't hurt them as much in terms of the actual their electoral chances. And so while he really has no big name legislation that he can be remembered for, he has helped to stop a lot of what Obama theoretically could have wanted to do, although we don't expect that Obama would have done much. And he's been able to stop the Republican Party from appearing as insane nationally as it would have if someone like Yoho or Gohmert had actually been able to become Speaker.
Yeah. I just believe that they all serve the exact roles that they're supposed to serve. So
you're saying like Boehner and Gohmert?
Yeah, and so Yoho doesn't realize he's a yo-ho. Like, he's genuine. He thinks like, yeah, we should default on the debt now, so right? But but he doesn't realize that he's part of a system that has put people in place to achieve a certain result, right? And again, it's not a conspiracy. It's not a smoke-filled room, okay? It's just naturally where the money flows, the districts, the gerrymandering, et cetera. So you get a bunch of people who are super right-wingers in these gerrymandered districts that are deep red, and they're supposed to pull people to further and further to the right, the Congress and even Boehner. Yeah. And Boehner's role is supposed to go huff and puff and go, oh my God, oh, look at these crazy guys. Oh, yeah. Watch out, they might win. Okay, oh, you see that? They've
so
got
I
a couple
look so
votes
reasonable.
See, I'm the moderate guy. I'm the guy that you can make a deal with. All right, now give me 98% of the tax cuts that I want. Yeah. And in return, I won't kill Obamacare. Yeah. That's why some of these people voted against him, because he didn't kill Obamacare
And he funded the government for the next year.
Yeah, in the lame duck session. Well, how the hell was he supposed to kill Obamacare in the lame duck session? That's crazy.
He didn't bring it up for a 50th vote.
Right, but
over the
what
past
they
few
do
years.
that, what they use that for is as leverage. So Boehner goes, look, all right, Obama, you win. I won't kill Obamacare. Okay, but she has no power to.
Yeah.
Give me more tax cuts.
Yeah,
You know?
which Obama is all too willing because he's playing his role too.
That's right.
But it also works on the opposite side. If you just had people like, I mean, what Boehner's actual ideology is, and people like him who are legitimately just pro-business, then you wouldn't be able to generate any enthusiasm going into elections. You need the firebrands like the Louis Gohmert and the Yohos to get the crazy people out there who aren't in Congress, who are just voting, to support that sort of really backstabbing policy that doesn't actually serve their ends. But you need them to fire the base up.
And it's faux populism. So for them to get out there.
Exactly, faux populism.
Exactly.
Yes.
So to say like, oh yeah, let's go, come on, let's grab a pitchfork. Oh, what are we going to do with it? I don't know. Let's stop the guys trying to prevent the bankers from taking your money. Okay, wait, that's the opposite of populism. But anyway, so that's how this whole charade is played, and it's foisted upon us. But my favorite quizzical moment was, and they refused to say it in all the articles we read, is that some people did protest votes against Boehner for people that weren't even in the House.
Yeah.
Which is even goofier than voting for Yoho
Bart Simpson.
or Gohmert, right? By the way, of course, Sarah Palin couldn't help doing this. She said, please consider gunning for Gohmert or going Yahoo for Yoho.
Which doesn't rhyme.
Okay.
It doesn't even rhyme.
Yeah, I know. And then she kicked the dog. No, okay. So I don't know who the people voted for outside the House. One of them had to be Ronald Reagan.
Yeah, definitely. So that they can say they did it.
Yeah.